Sometimes the universe doesn't send a warning. Sometimes it sends a spectacle, and your name is the headline. That's exactly what's happening right now, Chosen One. Your life has become the plot twist the entire town didn't see coming. And now, everybody's acting like undercover agents trying to figure out how you turned the whole storyline upside down. People who never cared about your well-being suddenly care about your whereabouts, your glow, your progress, your success, like your existence is some kind of spiritual police siren that won't stop blaring. And here's the funny part. Psychologists say nothing spreads faster than information mixed with fear and jealousy. Faster than news, faster than gossip, faster than the Wi-Fi we pretend is stable. That's exactly why everything is going down right now. Your transformation hit the streets like a breaking news announcement. Your name didn't just come up in conversation. It hijacked the conversation. It interrupted people's day like, "This just in." Your assumptions were wrong. Because when you rise in a way nobody expected, you don't just shock people. You expose the entire ecosystem of lies, rumors, projections, and insecurities built around your old version. Your glow-up didn't just change you, it changed the emotional weather forecast for everyone who ever doubted you. Suddenly, folks are sweating, whispering, pacing, checking the metaphorical CCTV to see what you're up to next. Some of them are even hoping you'll slip up, while others are praying you'll stay blessed because they don't want karma visiting them with a clipboard. And the chaos? Oh, it's delicious. The streets are buzzing. Conversations are heating up. Reputations are cracking. Everybody is trying to act calm. But their eyes are screaming, "How did the Chosen One flip the whole script on us?" Your rise is the talk of the town, the headline of the week, the emergency meeting of their mental committee. And trust me, whatever is going down right now, it's only getting started. Because your look, your glow, your energy, your presence, it's doing a roll call. And everybody who ever underestimated you just got summoned. Buckle up, because this story is unfolding in real time, and the whole town is watching like it's their favorite TV show. Except this time, you're the one holding the remote. Number 1. Your name became evidence because your growth didn't fit the script they wrote for your downfall. People never panic when you stay where they left you. Panic begins when you rise in a direction they didn't approve, didn't predict, and definitely didn't prepare for. That's exactly why your name is echoing everywhere right now. You didn't just grow, you grew in a way that shattered every lie they crafted about you. They had a storyline in their head where you were supposed to stay small, stay broken, stay unsure, stay dependent, or stay defeated. But you walked right out of that storyline like it was a poorly written movie, and now your very existence is making their narrative collapse. Your growth became evidence. Evidence that their judgment was faulty, their gossip was lazy, and their assumptions were weak. Every step you take now contradicts the version of you they so confidently talked about. And that contradiction is embarrassing them in slow motion. People don't get loud because they understand you. They get loud because they can't control the story anymore. You're forcing them to confront the truth they spent years avoiding. You were never who they said you were. They underestimated your strength, your intelligence, your resilience, and your spiritual assignment. And now that you've risen beyond their expectations, they're rewriting conversations like detectives scrambling to cover up bad paperwork. They're re-explaining old rumors, adjusting old insults, and trying to soften old narratives because they know those lies don't match the upgraded you. Your progress exposed the fact that they weren't analyzing you. They were projecting onto you. They weren't reporting facts. They were expressing fears. Your glow is now pulling confessions out of people who never thought they'd need to explain themselves. Your level up is forcing accountability, and your transformation is making it obvious that the real problem was never your flaws. It was their limited vision. Your growth didn't just change your life, it cracked open every version of the story they told themselves about you. That's why your name is everywhere. Not because you changed too fast, but because they never expected you to change at all. Number 2. Your presence exposed the corruption they participated in quietly. Your glow didn't bother them, your honesty did. Your progress didn't scare them, your integrity did. The moment you stepped into your true power, it exposed everything they thought they had successfully buried. People get uncomfortable when the truth walks in wearing confidence, and that's exactly what your presence does. You don't need to accuse anyone or call anybody out. You simply exist in your upgraded form, and suddenly the same people who bragged about their schemes start shrinking into the background. What's haunting them now is the reality that you never had to expose their wrongdoing. Your life did it for you. The way you carry yourself makes their behavior look small. The way you live now makes their choices look dirty. Your growth is highlighting the shortcuts, lies, and manipulation they use to climb over you. It's not that you're better than them, it's that you refuse to play the games they normalized. While they worked in shadows hoping nobody would notice, you worked on yourself publicly, consistently, and honestly. And now the contrast is loud. The reason your name is the topic of discussion isn't because you did something wrong, it's because they know they did. And your new level makes it harder for them to pretend innocence. Their guilt is acting up like an alarm they can't turn off. That's why some of them look nervous when your name comes up, like someone suddenly found the missing file they hid under the table. Even your silence makes them restless. Even your wins make them uncomfortable. Not because you're bragging, but because your success highlights the difference between growth and corruption. They thought their secrets were safe as long as you stayed low. But the moment you elevated, the spotlight naturally shifted, right onto the things they hoped would stay hidden. Your life is now a mirror, reflecting everything they tried to disguise. And instead of celebrating your rise, they're scrambling to hide the evidence your presence exposes without you lifting a finger. In trying so hard to dim your light, they forgot light reveals whatever stands in front of it. And now they're standing there with nowhere to run. Number 3. They're not shocked you rose. They're shocked they can no longer pretend they didn't see your worth. People love to act blind when it benefits them. They saw your potential from the beginning. They saw your heart, your intelligence, your strength, your uniqueness. But admitting they saw it would require them to also admit that they overlooked, dismissed, or mistreated someone who was always valuable. So they acted clueless. They pretended you were average. They pretended you were nothing special. They convinced themselves you were easy to replace or easy to undermine. And now that you've risen, the act is falling apart. Your rise didn't surprise them because deep down, they always knew you were capable of greatness. What shocked them is the fact that they can no longer hide behind their excuses. They can't pretend they misjudged you. They have to admit they ignored what was obvious. They have to admit they minimized someone who had everything it takes to rise. And that realization is hitting them harder than your glow-up. What makes them most uncomfortable is the fact that your elevation is proving their behavior had nothing to do with your limitations. It had everything to do with their insecurities. You weren't too sensitive. They were too cruel. You weren't not good enough. They were intimidated. You weren't not ready. They simply hoped you would never arrive. Your success is making it crystal clear that they didn't underestimate you because they couldn't see your worth. They underestimated you because they didn't want to face what it meant to acknowledge it. Now they have to deal with the truth they avoided for years. You didn't become valuable. You always were. And now that your life is reflecting the greatness they refused to acknowledge, they're stuck looking like the ones who fumbled a blessing. Your success is shining a light on their choices, and it's exposing the fact that their "I didn't know" was always a lie. What's haunting them now isn't your new level. It's the guilt of realizing they saw your worth but chose to treat you like you didn't have any. Number 4. Your transformation exposed how little they've changed in years. Your growth didn't just elevate you, it revealed the true pace of everyone around you. While you were busy healing, learning, rebuilding, and becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more grounded, they stayed exactly where you left them. The same habits, the same excuses, the same bitterness, the same conversations that start with gossip and end with envy. Your transformation didn't embarrass them because you got better. It embarrassed them because they didn't move at all. People don't realize how stuck they are until someone they counted out starts rising. You became living proof that change is possible, and that's the part that hits them the hardest. They weren't expecting you to evolve beyond the version they designed in their heads. They assumed you'd keep repeating your old patterns like they repeat theirs. But while they were circling the same emotional block for years, you broke the cycle entirely. And now the difference is loud. Your transformation turned you into a walking reminder of everything they avoided. You showed what happens when someone refuses to stay a victim. You became evidence of what consistency, integrity, clarity, and spiritual alignment can create. And because they didn't do the work, they're stuck observing your new life like an event they weren't invited to but still want to gossip about. Your rise is uncomfortable for them because it highlights every excuse they told themselves. That's just how life is. People don't change. No one ever makes it out. Growth is too hard. And yet there you are, proving them wrong without saying a word. They rehearsed the same jealous lines for so long that they didn't notice how outdated their mentality had become. They thought you would be the one stuck in survival mode, but you outgrew the environment that shaped you. Now you're the one moving forward with purpose while they're still recycling the same stories, the same dramas, the same insecurities. You became the event, something new, something surprising, something powerful. They became spectators to a rise they never believed would happen. And that silent distance between where you are and where they still are. That's the part hurting them the most. Number 5. Your resilience makes people fear consequences they never expected to face. People rarely consider the cost of mistreating someone they believe will never rise. They behave recklessly because they assume you'll stay too quiet, too broken, or too unsure to ever push back against their actions. They treated you like your pain had no price, but resilience has a way of sending invoices life never forgets, and your rise is the payment reminder they never thought they'd receive. When someone survives what was meant to destroy them, it changes the entire balance of power. Your resilience didn't just keep you standing, it rewrote the story they created about you. It made all their mockery, manipulation, gossip, and cruelty look childish and petty. And now that you're thriving, they're finally realizing that nothing they did was harmless. Every lie has a consequence. Every smear has a return address. Every attempt to break you has a spiritual receipt attached to it that doesn't go missing just because time passed. Your elevation created a bill in every area of their lives. Socially, they're facing the embarrassment of being exposed as people who attacked someone who ended up outranking them in character and growth. Spiritually, they're feeling the weight of messing with someone who was protected the whole time. Emotionally, they're dealing with the fear that karma hasn't even finished with them yet. They whispered behind your back when you were down. Now they whisper because they're scared of what's coming. They thought you were weak, but your resilience proved you were simply gathering strength. They thought you would break, but all you did was build yourself into someone they can't lie about anymore. Your survival is not a small thing. It's a loud message that everything they did is now catching up to them. What terrifies them most isn't your success. It's the realization that the universe didn't forget a single detail. Your rise is making them nervous because it signals that the scales are shifting. They're scrambling because they know that when a resilient soul rises, the people who tried to harm them always end up facing consequences they never believed would apply to them. You didn't seek revenge. You didn't retaliate. You simply survived. And survival itself became the justice they didn't see coming. Number 6, you didn't trigger panic. You triggered remembrance. Your rise didn't shake them because you became powerful. It shook them because your success forced them to revisit the version of themselves they hoped would stay buried. They're not panicking because you changed. They're panicking because your change reminded them of who they were when they mistreated you. Your elevation brought back memories they thought time would erase. They remember the jokes, the disrespect, the dismissiveness, the cold behavior, the conversations they had about you when they thought you would remain stuck. They remember the way they looked down on you, the way they underestimated you, and the way they convinced themselves you were never going to evolve beyond the limitations they placed on you. Your growth became a mirror they never asked to look into. Suddenly they're seeing their own actions from the past with clarity they didn't expect. They're replaying their behavior with new understanding, realizing just how cruel, careless, or arrogant they were. That's what's haunting them, not your success. Their memory of how they treated someone who ended up outranking their expectations. People always hope their worst behavior will fade into the background once the person they hurt moves on. They count on you staying wounded or silent so they never have to face the truth. But when you grow, when you rise, when you evolve, your progress acts like a trigger. It presses every button connected to their guilt, and that guilt is loud. It's not just an emotional tap on the shoulder. It's a full siren echoing in their conscience. Your elevation didn't just remind them of what they did. It highlighted how unnecessary their cruelty was. Now they're feeling the discomfort of realizing they fought a battle against someone who only wanted to be at peace. They targeted someone who wasn't their enemy. They dismissed someone who was actually divinely chosen. And the deeper truth is this: they never believed your wings would open. They never believed you'd rise high enough to make them regret their choices. But you did. And now every step you take upward shakes loose another memory they tried to bury. You didn't trigger panic. They triggered themselves the moment your glow connected to their guilt. Number 7. Your glow-up isn't cosmetic. It's a forensic reconstruction of your true identity. What's happening in your life right now isn't a makeover. It's a revelation. Your glow-up didn't come from trends, filters, or surface-level upgrades. It came from breaking down everything that wasn't really you and rebuilding yourself with truth, clarity, and self-respect. That's why it feels different. It hits different. It unsettles people in a way a new outfit never could. You didn't just get better, you became accurate. You became the version of yourself that was always underneath the pain, the confusion, the conditioning, and the noise. Now people are investigating you, not because you're mysterious, but because they're confused. They're trying to figure out how you became someone they can no longer categorize or diminish. They never bothered to understand who you were from the start. They made assumptions, created labels, formed narratives, and closed the case on your identity far too early. They thought they had you figured out. They thought they knew your limits. They treated your life like a file they could stamp ordinary and toss aside. But your glow-up reopened the entire file. Now they're revisiting their old opinions and realizing nothing matches the evidence of who you've become. Your confidence contradicts their memory. Your peace contradicts their gossip. Your progress contradicts their predictions. Your presence contradicts the narrative they built. And that contradiction is forcing them into an uncomfortable investigation they never expected to conduct. Your transformation is making them question everything they believed about you. They're comparing the old version they created in their minds to the real version standing in front of them now, and the gap between the two is embarrassing. You're proving that their assumptions were lazy and their judgments were shallow. You're showing that they closed the case long before the real story began. What they're witnessing now is the uncovering of your true identity, layer by layer, strength by strength, truth by truth. Your glow is not decoration, it's evidence, it's proof that you were never who they tried to reduce you to. And the more you rise, the louder that evidence becomes. That's why the investigation is suddenly active again. They're not trying to understand the new you. They're trying to figure out how they missed the real you all along. Number 8. You make people uncomfortable because you represent the version of themselves they were too lazy to become. You didn't offend anyone by winning. You offended them by proving that the life they complain about every day could have been different if they had put in the work. Your success, your healing, your discipline, your glow, your changes, they all reflect a level of effort most people never committed to, and that's the root of the discomfort. Deep down, they know you didn't get here by luck. You got here by doing the things they avoided, postponed, or excused. You became the person they secretly wanted to be, but didn't have the grit, courage, or consistency to build. That's why they hate in public but study you in private. They'll throw shade in the group chat, but they're saving your posts. They'll criticize your confidence out loud, but they're copying your habits behind the scenes. They'll gossip about how you've changed, but they're refreshing your page like it's part of their morning routine. They can't ignore you because you expose a truth they've tried to hide from themselves. They didn't fail because life was impossible. They failed because they didn't try hard enough. Your existence shines a light on their abandoned potential. It reminds them of the dreams they shelved, the goals they quit, the promises they made to themselves and never kept. They see your growth and immediately remember the moments they chose comfort over progress. And instead of admitting that, they prefer to resent you. It's easier to project jealousy than to confront regret. It's easier to belittle your journey than to acknowledge their own inactivity. You didn't become a threat. You became a reality check. You're living proof that progress is possible when excuses stop and effort starts. And that's exactly why they can't stand the new you, but can't look away from you either. They're torn between admiration and insecurity. They're wrestling with the uncomfortable truth that you didn't get lucky. You got serious. Your growth tells a story, and whether they like it or not, that story challenges them. You remind them of what they could have been. You remind them of what they allowed to die inside themselves. And that reminder is loud, confronting, and impossible to run from. Your success didn't hurt them. Their reflection in your success did. Number 9. Their obsession is actually fear that the truth about you will force accountability for how they treated you. People don't hover around your life because they suddenly care, or because they admire your progress. Many of them are glued to your every move because they're terrified of their own history. They know what they did, what they said, and how they behaved when they thought you would never rise high enough to be taken seriously. Their interest in your life is really a form of self-protection. They're watching you like someone watches a ticking clock, waiting to see if the moment is coming when their past behavior will catch up and expose them. Your growth is a threat to the stories they told behind your back. Your strength is a threat to the roles they cast themselves in, especially the innocent ones. When you were quiet, they felt safe. When you were struggling, they felt justified. But now that you're rising, the imbalance they relied on is gone. Your success forces a comparison between how they treated you and who you actually turned out to be. And that comparison is brutal for them. They know that if the truth ever came to the surface, it wouldn't just expose you as someone strong. It would expose them as people who acted out of jealousy, insecurity, or cruelty. That's what makes them nervous. They don't fear your glow. They fear the reflection of their own behavior in your glow. They don't fear your voice. They fear the receipts your life carries. They don't fear your confidence. They fear the contradictions between what they said about you and what you've become. They're watching closely because they don't know what chapter of your progress will make their past actions look ridiculous. They're scared you'll meet someone who knew nothing but their version of you. And that person will see through the lies the moment they meet the real you. They're terrified that one small detail, one small success, one small interaction will expose everything they tried to hide. Their obsession is not admiration, it's anxiety. It's the fear that the truth has a long memory. It's the fear that karma wears good shoes. It's the fear that your elevation will bring their hypocrisy to the surface. And now, every step you take upward is another reminder that accountability is no longer a possibility. It's inevitable. Number 10. They always wanted you to be ordinary so they could feel safe in their mediocrity. Some people only feel tall when everyone around them stays small. That's why they preferred you in your old, dimmed-down version. Not because it suited you, but because it protected them from having to confront their lack of effort. As long as you were struggling, they felt stable. As long as you were unsure, they felt confident. As long as you were silent, they felt superior. Your ordinariness wasn't natural. It was something they depended on to avoid facing their own limitations. But then you changed. Not gradually, decisively. You crossed a level they never imagined you would reach, and that shift destroyed the comfort they built around your old identity. You're no longer someone they can compare themselves to and feel like they're doing okay. You're no longer the safe reference point that lets them say, "At least I'm better than them." You took that false security and shattered it with growth they never expected, never prepared for, and definitely never wanted to see. Now pretending to be above you is impossible. Your progress is too visible. Your transformation is too real. Your energy has outgrown their limits so drastically that even the lies they used to tell about you sound outdated. It's hard to claim someone is nothing special when that person is outgrowing every box they tried to shove them into. So instead of admitting the truth, that they underestimated you, they're running their mouths like the whole town just turned into a gossip committee overnight. They're talking because they're intimidated. They're talking because they're embarrassed. They're talking because your elevation is exposing the gap between your effort and their excuses. The commentary suddenly got louder because silence would force them to acknowledge your rise, and that acknowledgement would crack their self-image in half. Gossip becomes their coping mechanism. Making noise becomes their shield. They hope that if they talk enough, they won't have to face the truth that you've become someone they can't compete with, can't downplay, and can't categorize. You rising didn't just shake their ego, it dismissed it. And now the whole town is buzzing because you did the one thing they never expected. You stopped being ordinary, and their comfort zone started falling apart. Number 11. You didn't just dismantle their lies. You exposed the emotional architecture those lies were built on. They didn't lie about you because they misunderstood you. They lied because they needed those lies to survive their own reflection. Your progress didn't merely make their rumors obsolete. It made them dangerous for the liars themselves. Because now, your evolution forced their story to collapse under its own weight. They're not scared because you changed. They're scared because your change reveals how violently wrong they were and how confidently they spread those falsehoods. Your elevation didn't just invalidate what they said about you. It exposed the motive behind the lies. And now they're panicking because when your truth starts shining, their excuses start rotting. Nothing terrifies a liar more than a reality they can't edit. Your glow made their words expire. Your resilience made their narrative crumble. Your authenticity put their accusations on trial. And the verdict? Every rumor they built has turned into evidence against them. Number 12. You didn't just become the report, they became the evidence against themselves. Your evolution isn't a glow-up, it's a record. A permanent, time-stamped documentation of who you were all along, long before anyone tried to distort your identity to make themselves look bigger. Your success is no longer just an accomplishment, it's a sworn statement. It testifies that every limitation they placed on your name was a projection, not a prophecy. Your spirit is the kind of testimony that can't be cross-examined or dismissed. It exposes the contradictions in their stories without you having to say a word. It shows the court of life exactly who was lying, who was pretending, and who was threatened by your potential long before it manifested. And the universe? The universe has been the silent judge this entire time, watching, weighing, recording. Your rise is its official ruling. Case closed, truth stands, elevation granted. The irony is brutal. They tried to erase you, but in doing so, they archived themselves. They tried to bury you, but your roots became the proof of their intentions. They tried to rewrite your narrative, but your transformation submitted the real version. And it's the only one that holds up under divine scrutiny. You are the report they prayed would never surface, the testimony they hoped would stay sealed, and the verdict that exposes everything they tried to hide. Your life is the document. Your growth is the evidence. Your resilience is the judge's signature. And now the record is public and irreversible. Number 13. You force people to confront how much they underestimated divine timing. People thought they had your future mapped out because they were judging you from the outside. They assumed your delays were proof that nothing significant was coming. They treated your quiet seasons like dead ends instead of preparation. What they never understood is that divine timing doesn't follow human scheduling, and your life was never operating on their calendar. While they were confidently counting you out, God was quietly counting seconds, lining up breakthroughs, aligning opportunities, and preparing moments they would never see coming. Now your rise is confusing them because it didn't match their predictions. They expected your blessing to crawl. Instead, it arrived like an alarm they couldn't mute. Your breakthrough didn't ask for permission, approval, or validation. It showed up early according to their standards, but perfectly on time according to heaven's strategy. That's why they're whispering. That's why they're uncomfortable. Your elevation disrupted their assumptions. Your success contradicted their narratives. Your timing exposed the limits of their understanding. What unsettles them the most is how your blessings revealed the truth about their hidden doubts. Your breakthrough is reminding them that their opinions were never the final word. They underestimated how quickly God can shift things, how fast doors can open, and how suddenly a life can transform when the season is right. You didn't need their support because divine timing doesn't run on group consensus. It runs on destiny. Your rise is a living reminder that God can accelerate someone's journey without warning. It shows that the person they dismissed yesterday can become the one they can't stop watching today. Your breakthrough isn't just a win, it's a revelation. And the loudest part of it is simple. Their timeline for you was too small, too shallow, and too human. Number 14. You're not trending, they're trembling. The noise surrounding your name isn't coming from celebration, it's coming from panic. People aren't discussing you because you suddenly became the topic. They're discussing you because they're terrified of what your rise means for them. Your elevation activated consequences they never expected to face. When you were quiet, they mistook your silence for defeat. When you were healing, they mistook your distance for weakness. But the moment you began to rise, every hidden thing they did began surfacing like evidence in a case they hoped was closed. Your success is forcing people to sit with themselves, and that's exactly why the atmosphere feels tense around your name. The town isn't buzzing, it's trembling. Your growth exposed their behavior. Your glow revealed their shadows. Your progress demolished the excuses they used to justify their mistreatment. Now they're feeling the ripple effects of their own actions in ways they can't control. Guilt that interrupts their sleep, anxiety that fuels their gossip, fear that someone else might tell the truth they tried to bury. They're not watching you, they're monitoring you. They're trying to figure out how close their past is to catching up with them. They're nervous because you weren't the problem. Your absence simply removed the scapegoat they built their identity around. Once you stepped out of their circle, every issue they tried to pin on you remained right there with them. Your rise exposed the fact that their chaos was never about you. It was who they already were. Your elevation didn't embarrass them. It revealed them. And revelation always creates fear. They know you carry the truth. They know you carry growth. They know you carry a new level of authority that exposes dishonesty, jealousy, and manipulation without you having to say a single word. So no, you're not trending. There's no excitement in their conversations, only anxiety disguised as curiosity. What's happening now is simple. Your rise activated a spiritual audit, and everything they thought they got away with is being re-evaluated. That's why the whole town is trembling. They don't fear your success. They fear what your success reveals about them. When everything is laid out, one truth rises above all the noise. Your evolution didn't just elevate you, it recalibrated the entire environment around you. Your glow-up wasn't about looks or lifestyle. It was a reconstruction of identity, a restoration of dignity, and a revival of everything they counted out. Every step you took forward revealed who had been standing still. Every layer of growth exposed who had been pretending. Every breakthrough forced the world to confront what they ignored when they thought your story was already written. You didn't become the talk of the town because people suddenly developed interest. You became the topic because your existence disrupts false narratives. You made those who mistreated you confront the receipts of their own behavior. You triggered their guilt, exposed their comfort in mediocrity, and revealed their fear of divine timing. Because the moment you rose, their excuses collapsed. They wanted you predictable, controllable, and forgettable. Instead, you became undeniable. Your rise forced a spiritual and social audit. Every rumor they crafted now contradicts your results. Every lie they built now crumbles under the weight of evidence. Every assumption they held now feels embarrassing even to them. You didn't chase validation. You simply became so aligned with who you truly are that the world had no choice but to adjust. And underneath all of this, there's a deeper revelation. You were never fighting people. You were shedding environments that were too small for your calling. You weren't breaking down. You were breaking out. You weren't rejected. You were redirected. And now that you've stepped into this version of yourself, you've become the proof that elevation is not accidental. It's intentional. It's engineered. It's divine. So let this moment be your reminder. When God's timing collides with your transformation, nothing stays the same. Not the stories, not the projections, not the people, not the town. Thank you so much for watching this video. If this message spoke to your spirit, don't leave without showing love. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop a comment, and share it with someone who needs this message today. Your support helps this channel grow and keeps powerful content flowing. Stay blessed, stay rising, and stay undeniable. God bless you.